Let's get right to our top story. Right now, President Trump's call with Russian President Vladimir Putin about ending the war in Ukraine is underway. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has agreed to an immediate ceasefire without conditions, but Putin has not. I want to bring in White House correspondent Karen Travers and foreign correspondent Soufi Burridge for more on this. Karen, Trump is working the phones, apparently, speaking with leaders from Russia, Ukraine, and European countries. So what are President Trump's goals in these talks?
The White House says it's to reach a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, and he thinks that he is the critical piece to making that happen. Last week, Stephanie, the president, said nothing is going to happen until Putin and I get together. He thinks it's critical for the two of them to get on the phone and eventually have an in-person meeting to try to push these conversations along. Now, we have heard the White House threaten more sanctions on Russia. That has not moved the needle in terms of Russia agreeing to a ceasefire. The president has pleaded with Vladimir Putin to stop some of the deadly attacks, especially in Kyiv, and that has also not let up. So it is not clear what increased pressure the president may put on Putin during this phone call today, or what concessions he is seeking from Putin, because so far they haven't done that. The president was asked recently about what concessions Russia has made or should make, and he said that Putin is making a concession by simply not taking the whole country of Ukraine. Stephanie?
It's been interesting to see that shift and to hear President Trump be critical of Putin. And Tom, you heard Karen. President Trump believes he's critical in these peace talks. So where do things stand between Trump and Putin right now from your perspective?
Well, I think, Donald Trump also is waiting to hear from the Russian president about what concessions Russia is actually willing to make, because in all the negotiations so far in Istanbul, just a matter of days ago, the Russian delegation, according to a Ukrainian official, was again making unrealistic demands, claiming that Russia should take even more territory off Ukraine than it has seized so far in the war. I think Russia wants to deal one-on-one with the US, right? The Kremlin sees Russia as a great power. It wants to deal with another great power, the United States. And effectively, it wants to seal the fate of Ukraine without Ukraine at the table. So the Europeans and Ukraine, they are still pushing for this 30-day ceasefire initially, and insisting that the US needs to try and get some concessions out of the Russians. The question is, at this point in time, is Vladimir Putin willing to make concessions? Does he really want to end the war? And many European officials in particular, believe that Russia is still committed to continuing its war in Ukraine.
Yeah, hopefully there is some resolve after these talks. We'll see. And Karen, regarding President Biden's recent announcement, President Trump says he's open to speaking directly to former President Biden after his cancer diagnosis. So what is he saying?
Stephanie, the president posted a statement last night on social media after the former president had announced his prostate cancer diagnosis. The president said he and the First Lady extend warmest best wishes to Jill and the entire Biden family, and that he wishes Joe, as he called him, a fast and successful recovery. The White House was asked today if he has reached out to President Biden directly, and Karoline Leavitt, his press secretary, said she didn't believe he had, but that he was open to doing that and having a conversation with him. Stephanie, the White House was also asked today if it is their understanding of whether President Trump is screened for prostate cancer as part of his regular medical treatment and exams. And Karoline Leavitt said it's her understanding he is, but she was going to double check on that, given now there is such a focus on this specific issue.
Valid question. Karen Travers for us at the White House, and Soufi Burridge. Thank you both for your time.